Right, amazingly, we've got to the last day. I don't expect that I'm going to spend too much time in here today. Just get a few things finished off before I take off. But we are here. I'll give you a bit of a snapshot of what's going on outside. It is definitely starting to get a little bit more wild out there. Wind's starting to come in. But really windy night last night and heaps of rain, but really starting to gather a little bit of intensity. Yeah, I think the next sort of 24 hours is going to be pretty full on. Anyway, we'll get stuck in today and see what we can get achieved. After completing the seats the previous day, we then moved into the fuselage on our last day. This is all a little bit out of process in terms of the normal build assist experience. This week's been all about adaptation and just trying to get as much done as we can with what we have. Today I'm working with James. He's taking me through the process to get the rudder pedals all assembled. Oh yeah, nice. Reasonably straightforward installation, and it all came together pretty nicely. Obviously with our pedals we want to make sure they're smooth and free flowing.
Looks like a nice day out there.
Yeah, bloody nice. You could have flown today.
Yeah, just about.
Yes, all good and well. And I think once we've got that in, James, you normally look at the control sticks.
Yeah, we'll put the we'll start on all those.
Start on the control sticks. You know, that's a nice big job to do.
Yeah.
Quite an important job, of course. Of course, yeah.
As the week starts to come to a close, I'm glad that I've made the decision to hang around. Certainly at the midway point of the week, with the weather details that we were getting, it really didn't seem like it was possible that I was going to be able to hang around for the period of time that I have. Personally, I've seen a little bit more than what I would normally in a normal week one. Hats off to Errol and his team for making the most of the situation that we were in. And just being positive throughout. As I'm editing this, it's a month after the cyclone hit, and I'm pleased that the level of damage that the cyclone caused was nowhere near what was expected. The inconvenience factor, though, was huge. They had a heap of air shows coming up, so many planes to be delivered, and I'm certain that this has really caused some headaches with their overall workflow in the workshop. And I hope these videos have added a little bit of context for anybody that may have been waiting on some answers from these guys over a pretty tough period. I had to add a little bit of sling bling to the plane. Wasn't even a choice as to whether or not I'd go with the standard rudder pedals or the sling ones. They definitely look a lot better than the standard units that come with the airframe. So the rudder pedals were pretty simple to install, and obviously having a quick build kit, I get the luxury of having the fuselage basically already assembled, ready to go. So there's a little bit less work to do if you're building a kit fully from scratch. But still got this one knocked over pretty quickly, and it was pretty pleasing to then move on to some of the controls. So once we'd completed the pedals, it was time for us to move across over onto the control sticks. Certainly not going to insult anybody's intelligence watching these videos with the importance of these controls and the importance of those controls to flight. One thing that I noticed as we started to go through this phase was the millimetre precision that James was applying, and also the adjustments that were constantly being made throughout this process to ensure that the control sticks themselves were very free-flowing. The other thing that gives me a lot of confidence with these guys building my plane are that they are very accomplished pilots themselves. Both Errol and James test fly the majority of the planes, spend countless amount of hours in slings, so they know all the things that can potentially go wrong or not feel right. Obviously, it's so important to make sure that our sticks are really responsive to any input from the pilot on either the aileron or elevator themselves. So you'll notice in the videos, James is constantly checking that rod to see whether or not we've got any catch points throughout. And when it's still not perfect, there's just a constant adjustment that occurs. And this just replays over and over and over again until we get them just right. So at this stage, it was around about midday. And again, you know, all the information that we're getting around the cyclone, it was just, it was time for me to get back home. And it was going to be the right time to make sure that I was safe to be able to do so. I didn't want to get stuck up north and be away from the family for much longer than I needed to. So I decided that this was going to be the last little step that we'd tick off. And again, I don't really want to keep harping on it, but it's, you know, it was really good for me to be able to stay the last day and just tick off a couple more things on the build. And that's the way I'm looking at it. It's just ticking things off and just getting me closer to being up in the sky doing what I really love. So, you know, just to be able to spend those extra couple of moments doing so was a great thing. Thank you, great man.
Oh,
it was a good first week. A little bit all over the place, but it was just the week that was, wasn't it?
It was a crazy week, mate.
Yep.
Yeah. So as you can see, we've been running around and preparing, trying to get ready for the storm, which has been extended and extended. So it looks like it's only going to hit now on Sunday. But yeah, I think it was a good week. You know, we got your seat bases done. That's that's a nice one. We started on your flight controls on the inside, which is very important part of a build. Flight controls is really critical thing. So that's really been going well. Got a flap build, got a aileron build. Couldn't fit the wingtip, but you know, it's just the way it is. But all in all,
I saw a lot more than what I was expecting.
Yes, yes,
so,
yes.
Which is, you know, it was just good.
Yeah, and slowly started on the firewall forward. We will have your firewall forward kit very soon, and then obviously we will order the engine at the same time, so that the next time you're up here, it's going to be quite more intensive, but then we really concentrate on firewall forward, engine installation, fuel system installation. Those are the things that I think, yes, it's nice to know a lot more about your airframe. Those are the critical things we want you to understand.
And we talked a little bit about paint this week as well too, which was good fun.
Yeah. So it's nice to go and play a little bit with your paint. I mean, probably the wings and the ailerons and empennage going off for paint. We could probably in about 4 weeks from now. So by that time, you will be more close and final to what your paint scheme is going to look like. So that's not going to hold it back. And then it's all in all, it's onto the fuselage. You know, instrumentation, we've talked about that. In the meantime, we will start designing your panel for you, send you a panel shot. And if you like, you know, the layout, then we will cut the panel and slowly but surely start on the panel wiring, so that when you are here the next time for the engine, you can also have a little bit hands-on on your instrumentation and avionics.
I think that's one of the great things about staying here. Probably 2 nights ago, I was able to just bend your ear for an hour and get all the mistakes that have been made previously from previous builders, and some advice around different types of instrumentation and what I'm specifically looking for. And I sort of walked out of that thinking, wow, we've got a panel design, and I didn't make some mistakes that I potentially could have made. So.
You know, as I say, there's lots of options on your panel, and especially on the capability of a Garmin system. But it is important to find out exactly what you want to do with your aircraft. You know, you can have an IFR option, but you know, you don't have to spend $20,000 or $30,000 more in order to have most of what the IFR option can offer you. So it's good to talk about these things, you know, and maybe save you a couple of bucks more for the paint.
Great. So I'll see you in about a month, mate. Good luck with the storm.
Sounds good.
Hope everything's good.
Fantastic.
Good on you, mate.
Good to have you here.
Cheers.